The shamisen or samisen, also called seingen, is a three-stringed, Japanese musical instrument derived from the Chinese instrument sangxian. It is played with a plectrum called a baki. The Japanese pronunciation is usually shamisen, but sometimes jamisen, when used as a suffix. The construction of the shamisen varies in shape, depending on the genre in which it is used. The instrument used to accompany kabuki has a thin neck, facilitating the agile and virtuosic requirements of that genre. The instrument used to accompany puppet plays and folk songs has a longer and thicker neck to match the more robust music of those genres. Construction: the shamisen is a plucked stringed instrument. Its construction follows a model similar to that of a guitar or a banjo, with a neck and strings stretched across a resonating body. The neck of the shamisen is fretless and slimmer than that of a guitar or banjo. The body, called the da, resembles a drum, having a hollow body that is covered front and back with skin, in the manner of a banjo. The skin used depends on the genre of music and the skill of the player. Student shamisen often use dog skin, and sometimes plastic, as they are cheaper to replace, and more durable. The shamisen of professional players are often covered in cat skin, as it is more delicate and expensive. It is said that the best sound quality is produced from a shamisen bound in catskin. In the past a special type of paper was used and recently various types of plastics are being tried. On the skin of some of the best shamisen, the position of the cat's nipples can still be seen. The sao, or neck of the shamisen is usually divided into 3 or 4 pieces that fit and lock together. Indeed, most shamisen are made so that they can be easily disassembled and stowed to save space. The neck of the shamisen is a singular rod that crosses the drum-like body of the instrument, partially protruding at the other side of the body and there acting as an anchor for the strings. The pegs used to wind the strings are long, thin and hexagonal in shape. They were traditionally fashioned out of ivory, but as it has become a rare resource, they have been recently fashioned out of other materials, such as various kinds of wood and plastic. The 3 strings are traditionally made of silk, or, more recently, nylon. They are stretched between the pegs at the head of the instrument, and a cloth tailpiece anchored at the end of the rod which protrudes on the other side of the body. The strings are stretched across the da, raised from it by means of a bridge, or comber, which rests directly on the taut skin. The lowest string is purposefully laid lower at the nut of the instrument, so that it buzzes, creating a characteristic timbre known as sawari. The upper side of the da is almost always protected by a cover known as a da cake, and players often wear a little band of cloth on their left hand to facilitate sliding up and down the neck, known as a ubikuk. The head of the instrument known as a tanjin may also be protected by a cover. The material of the strings will depend on the skill of the player. Traditionally, silk strings are used. However, silk breaks easily over a short time, so this is reserved for professional performances. Students often use nylon or tetron strings, which last longer than silk, and are also less expensive. Variations in construction and playing method equals. The construction of the shamisen varies in shape and size, depending on the genre in which it is used. The baki used will also be different according to genre, if it is used at all. Shamisen are classified according to size and genre. There are 3 basic sizes: hoseizo, shizai and futozai. Examples of shamisen genres include nagota, jita, minayo, kauta, hauta, shinai, tokiwazu, kiyomoto, jidao and tsujaru. Hoseizo, the hoseizo, as its Japanese name implies, is the smallest kind of shamisen. The body is small and particularly square-shaped, with a particularly thin neck, which tapers away from the strings just as it approaches the body. Generally, the hoseizo is used in nagota, the shorter and thinner neck facilitating the agile and virtuosic requirements of kabuki. Hoseizo shamisen especially built for nagota ensembles are often simply known as a nagota shamisen. The hoseizo is also often used in kauta, where it is plucked with the fingernails. Shizai, the shizai is a size up from the hoseizo. As its name implies, the neck is slightly thicker. As the neck approaches the body of the instrument, the distance between the strings and the fingerboard is maintained, unlike the hoseizo, where it tapers off. The fingerboard ends abruptly, and the rest of the neck curves sharply into the body of the instrument. The pronounced curve that occurs just before the neck meets the body is called hatomune. The result is an extended fingerboard that gives the shizai a higher register than the hosozo. The shizai is favored for jita-style playing, with a broader, more mellow timbre. It is also an all-round instrument that can actually be used across many genres. Futozai, finally, futozai are used in the robust music of jidayabushi, jirari minayo, and tsujara shamisen. In these genres, a thicker neck facilitates the greater force used in playing the music of these styles. The futozai of tsujara shamisen is quite a recent innovation, and is purposefully constructed in a much larger size than traditional style shamisens, and its neck is much longer and thicker than the traditional nagota or jita shamisens. Variations in baki, the baki or plectrum used to play the shamisen also differ in size, shape, and material from genre to genre. The baki used for nagota shamisen are made out of 3 possible materials, that is wood, plastic, or ivory. While many nagota teachers do not approve of the use of plastic, if ivory is unattainable and wood is still out of price range, plastic will suffice. Jita baki are made entirely out of plastic or ivory, or plastic and tortoiseshell, or ivory and tortoiseshell. Jita baki are the easiest identified because they are the longest, the widest and also have a deep indentation where the tortoiseshell meets the handle. There are sometimes also jita baki that are made with a buffalo horn handle. The material however makes no difference in the sound. Jidai shamisen uses the heaviest and thickest baki, which however is not as wide as a nagota baki. The baki used for tsujara shamisen is the smallest. It is almost always tipped with tortoiseshell. Other variations, the koma, or bridge, can be fashioned out of aged bamboo, ivory, ox bone, rosewood, buffalo horn, khaki wood, any combination of the above, or plastic for the student level. Koma come in many heights. The higher the koma, the louder the sound will be, and the harder it is to control a rapid tsukui. The higher koma are not suitable for beginners. Koma variations, nagota koma, heights used, 3.2-3.6, koma for nagota are fashioned out of only 3 materials, that is ivory, bone, and plastic. Ivory is the most expensive and produces the most desirable sound and amplification, but due to its high price tag is normally only used in performances. Oxbone or shari is the most popular koma for practicing with students who are performing. Because of ivory's volume and vibration it is normally used by a teacher or tape shamisen, so that the other players can follow their tone and signals. Plastic is becoming increasingly harder to find simply because it does not produce a desirable sound when compared to shari koma. Shari is not much more expensive than plastic, and most teachers openly express their displeasure with plastic koma and require shari. Jita koma, heights used, 2.6 and 2.8 are the standard. Koma for jita are made out of a few select materials, that is yellow or black water buffalo horn are the standard for jita. Black water buffalo horn does not have a significant sound difference when cut in the jita koma style, and is far less popular. Yellow suiju is the most widely used for jita-style shamisen, both in practice and performance. Plastic is available because of the higher price tag of suiju. Many people believe that for jita, there is not a great sound difference between the two, but there is a high change in vibration. Plastic makes a deader sound, which is not the most favorable for jita. Shari is used from time to time in practice, but never for jita performances. Tsujara minayo koma, heights used, 2.6, sometimes 2.7, and 2.8, Tsujaru koma are very easily identifiable due to their unique structure and use of 2 different materials. Tsujaru koma are very thin in width, and are not very high. The base is usually made of either bamboo, smoked bamboo, or a wood of some kind, while the top half in which the strings pass through can be made of ivory, bone, or tortoiseshell. Because of the thickness of both the strings and neck of the futozai shamisen, the tsujaru bridge in general tends to be longer than the others. One should note not to confuse a jidai or kuyamoto koma with a tsujaru shamisen used for traditional genres of Japanese music. such as juta, kauta, and negauta, adhere to very strict standards. Purists of these genres demand that the shamisens be made of the correct wood, the correct skin, and are played with the correct baccy. There is little room for variation. The Tsujara shamisen, on the other hand, has lent itself to modern use, and is used in modern genres such as jazz and rock. As a more open instrument, variations of it exist for show. The tuning pegs, which are usually fashioned out of ivory, and baccy which are fashioned from a combination of ivory and tortoise shell for example, are sometimes made of acrylic material to give the shamisen a more modern, flashy look. Recently, avant-garde inventors have developed a Tsujara shamisen with electric pickups to be used with amplifiers, like the electric guitar. The electric Tsujara shamisen, 1, has been born. The hike shamisen is a shamisen particularly fashioned for the performance of the song Haikondo, a folk tune originating from Shimonoseki, Yamaguchi Prefecture. The neck of the hike shamisen is about half the length of most shamisen, giving the instrument the high range needed to play Haikondo. The use of more typical shamisen is possible, but they must be properly adjusted with a capo device to raise their pitch to make them suitable for use. Variations in playing. In most genres the shamisen, the strings are plucked with a baccy. The sound of a shamisen is similar in some respects to that of the American banjo, in that the drum-like da amplifies the sound of the strings. As in the clawhammer style of American banjo playing, the baccy is often used to strike both string and skin, creating a highly percussive sound. In kauta-style shamisen, and occasionally in other genres, the shamisen is plucked with the fingers. Tuning. The shamisen is played and tuned according to genre. The nomenclature of the notes in an octave also varies according to genre. In truth, there are myriad styles of shamisen across Japan, and tunings, tonality and notation vary to some degree. 3 of the most commonly recognized tunings across all genres are onchoshi, nigari, and sansagari. Onchoshi means home tuning, or bass tuning, and it is called so because other tunings are considered derivatives of this one tuning. For onchoshi, the first and third strings are tuned an octave apart, while the middle string is tuned to the equivalent of a fourth, in Western terms, from the first string. An example of this is D, G, D, nigari. Nigari means raised 2, or raised second, and this refers to the fact that the pitch of the second string is raised, increasing the interval of the first and second strings to a fifth. An example of this is D, A, D, sansagari. Sansagari, which means lowered 3, or lowered third refers to tuning the shamisen to onchoshi and lowering the third string down a whole step, so that now the instrument is tuned in fourths, for example D, G, C. Instead of having a set tuning, such as on a guitar or a violin, the shamisen is tuned according to the register of the singer, or simply to the liking of the player. The shamisen player can tune the shamisen to whatever register desired, so long as the above conventions are followed. Musical notation. Music for the shamisen can be written in Western music notation, but is more often written in tablature notation. While tunings might be similar across genres, the way in which the notes on the neck of the instrument in Japanese are named is not. As a consequence, tablature for each genre is written differently. For example, in minor yo-style shamisen, notes on the shamisen are labeled from 0, the open string called 0. However, in juta-style shamisen, notes are subdivided and named by octave, with 1 being the open string and first note in an octave, starting over at the next octave. The nodes are also labeled differently for Tsujaru-style shamisen. To add to the confusion, sometimes nodes can be shopped, and since the names of nodes and their positions are different for each genre, these will also vary. Consequently, students of one genre of shamisen will find it difficult to read tablature from other genres of shamisen, unless they are specially trained to read these kinds of tablatures. Tablature can be written in traditional Japanese vertical right-to-left notation, or it can be written in more modern horizontal left-to-right notation, which resembles modern guitar tablature. In traditional vertical notation, Chinese characters and older symbols for dynamics are used, however notation from Western-style music notation, such as Italian names for dynamics, time signature and affirmator have been imported. What tuning a work calls for is usually indicated on the tablature. History and genres. The Japanese shamisen originated from the Chinese instrument sanxian. The sanxian was introduced through the Ryukyu kingdom in the 16th century, where it developed into the Okinawan instrument sanshin from which the shamisen ultimately derives. It is believed that the ancestor of the shamisen was introduced in the 16th century through the port city of Sakai, near Osaka. The shamisen can be played solo or with other shamisen, in ensembles with other Japanese instruments, with singing such as nageoto, or as an accompaniment to drama, notably kabuki and bunraku. Both men and women traditionally played the shamisen. The most famous and perhaps most demanding of the narrative styles is jidaiya, named after Takamoto Jidaiya, who was heavily involved in the bunraku puppet theater tradition in Osaka. The jidaiya shamisen and its plectrum are the largest of the shamisen family, and the singer-narrator is required to speak the roles of the play, as well as to sing all the commentaries on the action. The singer-narrator role is often so vocally taxing that the performers are changed halfway through a scene. There is little notated in the books of the tradition except the words and the names of certain appropriate generic shamisen responses. The shamisen player must know the entire work perfectly in order to respond effectively to the interpretations of the text by the singer-narrator. From the 19th century, female performers known as onajaruri or onajidaiya also carried on this concert tradition. In the early part of the 20th century, blind musicians, including Shirakawa Gunpachira, Takahashi Chikuzan, and sighted players such as Kiyoda Rincha evolved a new style of playing, based on traditional folk songs but involving much improvisation and flashy fingerwork. This style, now known as Tsujara Jamisen, after the home region of this style in the north of Honshu, continues to be relatively popular in Japan. The virtuosic Tsujara Jamisen style is sometimes compared to bluegrass banjo. Kauta is the style of song learned by geisha and meiko. Its name literally means small, or short song, which contrasts with the music genre found in bunraku and kabuki, otherwise known as nageoto. Juta, or literally earthen music, is a more classical style of shamisen music. Shamisen in non-traditional genres. One contemporary shamisen player, Takeharu Kunimoto, plays bluegrass music on the shamisen, having spent a year studying bluegrass at East Tennessee State University and performing with a bluegrass band based there. Another player using the Tsujara Jamisen in non-traditional genres is Michiro Sato, who plays free improvisation on the instrument. Japanese-American jazz pianist Glenn Horuchi played shamisen in his performances and recordings. A duo popular in Japan known as the Yoshida Brothers developed an energetic style of playing heavily influenced by fast aggressive soloing that emphasizes speed and twang, which is usually associated with rock music on the electric guitar. Metal guitarist Marty Friedman has often used a shamisen in his recordings to give a more exotic sound to his music. Takeshi Tarachi and Bunnies utilized shamisen played by Michio Miyashi in combo with their instrumental rock group on their single Tsujara Jungrabushi with Dark Eyes. Japanese extreme metal band Zenith Thrash played shamisen and shakuhachi in their latest album to achieve the band's ideal of Japanized extreme metal. Japanese rock musician GACKT opened his 6th day 7th night concerts in 2004 seated on stage with a shamisen, joined by two musicians from his band, GACKT Job, also playing shamisen. Japanese rock musician Miyavi has also played the shamisen on various occasions, incorporating its use in albums and during concerts. American Tsujara Jamisen player and guitarist Kevin Kmitz leads a rock band called God of Shamisen, which is based in Santa Cruz, California, and also plays the instrument with the band Stratosphere. Japanese traditional and jazz musician Hiromitsu Agatsuma incorporates a diverse mix of genres into his music. He arranged several jazz standards and other famous Western songs for the shamisen on his latest album. Agatsuma plays standards. His previous recordings displayed funk, electro music and traditional Japanese styles. Instrument also used in the music of pop speed metal band Baby Metal can be seen in their music videos and live on stage. See also Sangxian, Tsujara Jamison, Hiramitsu Agatsuma, Sankyaku, Gagaku, Kokaya, Sanshin, Biwa. And notes. Bibliography: Johnson, Henry. The Shamisen, Tradition and Diversity. External links: Book on Shamisen, About Shamisen, Jishin Shamadeko, God of Shamisen is a progressive metal band that has implemented the acoustic and amplified sound of the Tsujara Jamison. Naitabo official site, Kauta, Nagota, Horta, Utazawa, Kauta. Audio Listen to a Shamisen, listen to arrangements with Shamisen of Nagota pieces Kokaji, Tshurukam, Ashigo Jishi and Musim Dojiji. Video Shamisen Player, Public Performance Number 2, Shamisen Player, Public Performance. References SKIN's World Debut, SKIN Debut Concert Live Report at JAME.